Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them, maybe. First question this week comes from Isaac Alexander. Isaac says, "Hi Alicia, what's the difference between everybody and everyone?" Yeah, please see episode 23 of this series where I talked about this very question, this exact same question. I will try to make sure a link is in the description where you can find this video, but if there's not, then you can find this video on the channel. Just a quick search, you should be able to find this video. So please check that video for the answer. Okay, let's go to the next question. Next question comes from Mifta. Hi Mifta. Hi again Mifta. Mifta says, "What is the difference between sometimes and sometime and how do I use them?" Yeah, okay, let's start with sometimes. Sometimes is an adverb. It's an adverb that we use to indicate frequency of a behavior. That means how often you do a behavior. Sometimes is one level of frequency of a behavior. Examples: I sometimes eat junk food for lunch. She sometimes goes jogging in the morning. They sometimes take camping trips. So sometime is also an adverb, but we use it to talk about unspecified points in time. That means a point in time that we're not specific about. We're not clearly saying when, we're just being kind of open about it. Examples: we should get together sometime. They finished the project sometime in the last month. He said he wants to introduce his girlfriend to us sometime. So I hope that you can see that sometime, no S, is an adverb, but it's used to talk about an unspecific point. Sometimes, however, is used to indicate frequency of an action. Hope that helps you. All right, next question. Let's go to the next question. Next question is from Karthikeyan G. Sorry. Karthikeyan says, "What's the difference between check and check out and speak out?" If you're talking about verbs, check can mean confirm, or like look at something carefully. Examples: can you check these documents? I have to check my house for damage. They checked our passports. Check out then means to leave a location and complete a transaction. So we use check out, for example, at hotels or when you're shopping. I'm checking out of my hotel in the morning. He finished shopping and checked out. There is, however, a second meaning of check out, which is to look carefully at someone you find physically attractive. So that means you're looking at the way they're dressed, their skin, their hair, their eyes, the way they speak, the way they walk, whatever. So to check out is to look at someone carefully because you find them physically attractive. Examples: I think that girl just checked you out. He checked her out across the room. So that's check and check out. But let's move on to speak and speak out. Speak is used just to mean like to verbally give information. It sounds more formal. We use it in the same way we use talk. Actually, there's a video on the channel about the word speak, but we use it to mean like sharing information verbally. We also use that for like announcements or for speeches as well. Like, you spoke so well at the conference yesterday, or do you speak to the clients every week? The expression speak out, however, refers to raising your voice usually, or sharing your voice usually in response or in opposition to something that you disagree with. So like many people speak out against gun violence, or some people spoke out against this new policy. So that means you're sharing your voice or like contributing your opinion against something. It can also mean sharing your voice about an experience you had that's maybe difficult to talk about. Like, she spoke out about her experiences, for example, or he spoke out about the time that he was robbed. We'd never heard that before. I would say it's most commonly used to talk about something you oppose, to oppose something. So sharing your voice in opposition to something. Hope that helps. Next question. The next question is from Monica. Monica says, "What does I hope you step on a Lego mean?" I hope you step on a Lego is a very casual and kind of like childish, funny way of saying, I hope a small misfortune happens to this person. So a Lego, if you don't know, is a small children's toy. It's a block. We can put them together to make buildings, to make cities, to make things. So a Lego is very small. And they're kind of infamous. Infamous means famous for a bad reason. Infamous for being very, very painful to step on. They're a small plastic block, and if you have carpet in your house, they can easily hide in the carpet and you don't see them. And if you step on the corner, it's really painful for just a moment. So when you say, I hope you step on a Lego, it means I hope that some small misfortune happens to you. Like you don't want anything serious to happen to the other person, but maybe they did something that irritates you, or you feel really upset about something they did, and so you hope they have a small misfortune as well, in the same way you had a small misfortune too. So nothing serious, but just, I hope you step on a Lego. So it's actually quite common. You see it a lot on the internet. Okay, next question. Next question is from Alexander. Hi, Alicia, what does you are mean? You are can mean your, Y-O-U-R, or your, Y-O-U''R-E. It just depends on the sentence, depends on the situation, depends on which one grammatically fits the sentence. Examples. You're not my friend. Does this answer your question? You'll see this on the internet. Don't use this in formal business writing. Don't use this in work emails. It's only used among close friends and maybe online. So hope that helps. Thanks for the question. Next question. Next question comes from Niraj Nishad. Hi. What is the difference between apologize, sorry, and pardon? Yeah. Okay. First, apologize is a verb, which means to say you are sorry for something. Apologize is a verb. Please apologize. I want you to apologize. Don't apologize for that. Sorry is an adjective that expresses sadness or regret. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. He doesn't seem very sorry. Pardon is a verb. It sounds like excuse me or forgive me. It's more formal than sorry. Pardon me. Please pardon his behavior. So I hope that helps a little bit. You can always check a dictionary for the specific different meanings of each of these words. So those are all the questions that I want to answer this week. Thank you as always for sending your great questions. Remember, you can send them to me at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. Of course, if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at englishclass101.com. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Ask Alicia, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.